Hi everyone, The Lone Wolf here. Welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about what I've done in the last week or so and some of the news that has caught my eye in the last week or sometimes a little bit later. So let's start as always with my main game, EVE Online. I would say that I've played an average amount of EVE Online. I did play a little bit every single day. On a few evenings I also did quite a bit of mining, some industry and some selling. At the moment I'm basically still in the preparation modes for the Citadel expansion, and I'm at the point now where I'm starting to buy blueprint copies of structure components. Now I'm not going all out on this just yet. There are two aspects here that are holding me off of just basically buying every blueprint copy from the known numbers at the moment. And of course that's the first problem. The numbers are still on CC and they are still subject to change. So I wouldn't want to be holding 40 market structure components when in the end you may only need 30 or something like that. So I'm basically building up a baseline of these structure components because they do take quite a bit of time to produce, but I don't intend to be 100% ready and be able to put a large Citadel in the oven on day one of the expansion. Another reason is that next to all of these base preparations, there will still be some investments that I need to make. Yeah, the price of Plex at the moment is not where I would like it to be. I think this is an opinion that Plex will actually rise the closer we get to the expansion itself, and I also think that I'll need to sell at least a few of them for some extra ISK to buy. First of all, of course, the blueprint copy of the Citadel itself. I think that will be very expensive at first, and then of course for some of the extra modules that I'll need to fit out a Citadel so that I can actually defend it a little bit in case of trouble. Now my way of thinking here at the moment is that sure, I want to put some effort in preparations for the Citadel, but I don't feel the need to be one of those people that will be producing a large Citadel or even an Excel or whatever on day one and then deploying it as soon as they can. I think that will actually attract a lot of attention and people will actively be looking for those first large Citadels to be deployed, war deck, and just go after them, because in the end, especially at first, I think we're looking at close to a 10 billion ISK investment, and yeah, something like that is just quite a bit of fun just to blow that up because you can, of course, yeah, basically do quite a bit of damage to a person's wallet or to a corporation's wallet by just going ahead and trying to find those large Citadels and blowing them up. So I do think that after, let's say, a month or so, I'm not sure of the timeline myself, but after a while, of course, enough people will have put up their own Citadels so that it becomes impractical to war deck all of them, and you basically do fade back a little bit when it comes to the attention, which on day one I think will be huge. I do think a lot of people will come out with the first Citadels, and then a few days later we'll find out that it's been blown up. But yeah, I'm not planning to be amongst those people to be there day one. I'm planning to actually take my time, scope the situation out a little bit, and then when I feel comfortable, all right, I'll deploy my large Citadel and ask you guys to come and trade at my own market hub. We'll see how all of that works out, of course, but that's basically what I'm doing at the moment, just setting up a baseline so that I can get ready in a reasonable amount of time, but I don't have the intention of having every single structure component absolutely ready day one, buy the first blueprint copy that's available in Jita, and then just go for that large Citadel on day one. That's not how I'm planning to handle the Citadel expansion. Of course, next to what I'm doing in EVE Online, there's not a lot of news at the moment, but there's a lot to look forward to, of course. We have the Citadel expansion coming on April 27th. Just before that we have FanFest, which honestly I am very curious about the PC shooter that will be based on Legion, that CCP is hopefully going to provide us some information about. If they provide a timeline, you know, with like alpha and beta and concrete plans, that would be absolutely amazing to me, because combining the EVE Online experience with a shooter set in New Eden is still a dream. For me, it would be absolutely amazing, I think. So we'll see if the information that I want does come out of FanFest, but of course next to that there will be the trailers, there will be the keynotes, there will be all the different talks on the economy, things like that. There's a lot to look forward to at the end of April, and between now and then, if you look at Reddit, for instance, with all the propaganda that's happening, the war drums are beating. If they could start a major war in nullsec, then that would be an absolute blast. I do really enjoy reading about all of the action, all the preparations, all the propaganda that people are making at the moment. If that does blow up into a big war in April, I think that would be really good for the game. Then the game could have an incredible month of April for us to look forward to. And so yeah, that's basically my viewpoint on EVE Online at the moment. A lot of cool stuff to look forward to, and I can just keep busy doing my own little thing, getting ready for my own plans. Now, next to EVE Online, I also played a decent amount of Elder Scrolls Online, not as much as in the first week or so, but still I played some Elder Scrolls Online every day, trying to do a few quests, try to make a video and just have some fun in this, as I would in, let's say, Skyrim or a Morrowind. That's definitely how I'm trying to play the game, and I'm succeeding very well, honestly. It seems like it's very well paced. You actually move from one spot to another quite briskly. The quests are decently fun. What I really like about the quests in the Elder Scrolls Online so far is how the towns and the activities there do change as you progress through a quest. So the guards change, sick people can get healthy, can die. There's a lot of small details that happen around the world itself as you go through a story, through a quest line, that adds a lot to the atmosphere. And so far, yeah, the Elder Scrolls Online, I'm very happy with this purchase. I am able to play this as any other Elder Scrolls game, almost as a single player game, but you just have other people just playing around inside your world as well. You cross them. If you want to, you can interact with them. That's not what I'm aiming for at the moment myself, but here and there, you know, you're doing something a little bit tougher, someone else all of a sudden jumps in and comes to help you. That just adds a little bit to the experience, but it's a lot of fun in general, and I'm enjoying it very, very much. I look forward to sharing all of my stories and my adventures in the Elder Scrolls Online with you guys, and that's what I'm working on as well. I also played a bit of Fallout 4 because the new DLC Automatron hit. Now that has not lasted very long because the quest part of the DLC is actually very short. You only have to do a few dungeons, if you want to call them that, clear out a few regions, and then there you go, you've played through the story. And so it's not that I'm disappointed with the DLC, especially since I did buy the season pass when it was still at half price. So I basically bought this for, I consider this for like five euros or something like that. But its strength is definitely not extending the story, extending the lifespan of Fallout 4. And I had a level 62 character that had done everything there was to be done on the main quests. I went with the Institute itself, so we kicked out the Brotherhood, we destroyed the railroad. We basically are now the dominant faction. I'm the leader of both the Minutemen and the Institute. I'm basically the most powerful guy in the Commonwealth at that point. And yeah, this DLC just basically added a few hours of questing, but that's about it for me. So I would say for this DLC, if you want to make it worth a full price purchase, you have to either plan a complete new playthrough, or you have to be playing Fallout 4 for the first time. Adding that to the package as a first experience, I do think is going to be great, because it adds an enormous new layer of customization to your settlements, to your playthrough, to your companions and things like that. But it doesn't really extend the lifespan of the game itself if you already basically played through it. So yeah, if I'd have to give you guys my opinion on this in just a few short sentences, then I would say if you're planning a playthrough or you're buying Fallout 4 for the first time, then yes, this DLC is great to add to the package and worth the full price. If you've already played a lot of Fallout 4, but you didn't pull the trigger on the season pass, then I would hold off and wait until it's at a discount before I buy the Automatron DLC. Maybe until you do get to the point where, okay, I want to do a new playthrough of Fallout 4 or wait for all the other DLC to actually come out, buy that as a package at a discount, and then just continue with your character from that point of view. So yeah, that's basically been Fallout 4, just a few hours rushing through the DLC, seeing what it has to offer. But ultimately, I think if I want to get the most out of that, I would have to start a new game, and I just don't have the time for that at the moment. I also touched on Banished. I basically finished my last playthrough of Banished. This is the one game I go to when I have some stress, maybe from work or from whatever, and I need to really relax for a few hours. Then Banished is what I hit. But my town has grown very big, I would say almost 1,000 inhabitants in total, and having to micromanage the farms there for the crop rotation is actually starting to take a lot of time, becoming a bit of a grind. And so I basically decided to finish up my town. I may try and show you guys what I created here in Banished, but I don't think I'm going to continue on this current playthrough, just because the amount of micromanagement that I need to do to keep everything balanced and to make sure that my food production doesn't get hit because I don't rotate the crops enough, which is actually like 6 minutes of clicking at this point. I do think I'll just stop with this playthrough, and I'll probably am looking at a few months. In a few months, if I then need some time to relax, then I may hit the game again. But yeah, it was a lot of fun creating this town. I'm actually pretty happy with how everything turned out. We basically colonized the whole river on my map there and expanded to the sides quite heavily. But yeah, at the moment it's so big that trying to micromanage that town is almost not relaxing anymore. And so at that point, I usually decide that okay, it's probably time to start a new town the next time I want to play some Banished. And then finally, I'll just touch on this, of course, the biggest news that caught my eye last week. How could it not? A terrorist attack in my own country. In fact, the day it happened, when I came online in EVE Online, I was also convoyed right away by someone who was a bit worried. But yeah, don't worry. I live and work close to Antwerp, so this was nowhere near me. It only touched me personally because there is one friend that we know who works at the airport, but already like an hour after I got the first indications that something was up, I already got a message from my brother saying that he was working in another building and he was safe. So when it comes to these terrorist attacks, of course, it is absolutely terrible. And yeah, my thoughts immediately went out to all of the victims. They still do. Any loss of life, any violence, I think I condemn as highly as I can. On the other hand, of course, the way something like this is handled by the mainstream media, I think is almost disgusting, which is also the reason why I have not made any videos on this up to this point, because it just almost becomes clickbait. You're bombarded with so much information that it just adds to all the emotions that people are having. And I think that's also a big reason why so many people become extremely angry and start to blame everyone. They start to blame politicians, they start to blame religions, people, individuals, and I think that's just the wrong thing to do. But I personally, I do feel that the overexposure from people to dramatic events like this, both online, on Reddit, you get extremely heated debates that just keep going and going and going. You have the mainstream media that just covered this 24 hours a day for several days on end. And of course, people can't escape that anymore. They can't retreat into themselves. I've tried to do that when this actually happened. But yeah, that's basically why I never really covered that, because I feel like that's not the right thing to do when it comes to this. In fact, the thought that I try to keep at the back of my mind is a quote. I think it was in the AMA from Bill Gates, the guy who created Windows. His AMA on Reddit, he said, always try to remember that despite all the bad things that we see and are exposed to, we are slowly doing better as the human race. Poverty is getting better, There's less famine in the world than ever before. Technology is getting better and better. More and more people are getting educated, are actually reasonable and good people. And I think that in general, we don't see that very often, but the positive forces, the good forces in the world still dominate by far the terrible events that happen from time to time as well. And that's basically all I can say about that, in my opinion. I don't have extremely strong convictions when it comes to any of the blame or anything like that about these attacks. I just feel very sorry and condemn very highly any violence and any loss of life, and I feel very sorry for that. But I do try to stay positive, try to find good things in the world and try to focus on that. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you guys for this Sunday recap. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.